All right, what's going on? Just want to make sure we're live before I get started here. Once I get some confirmation that we're live, this is the first time I'm doing this, by the way, so I think we are live. What's going on? Yes, we are. Look at that. Okay, so let me walk through a couple things and then we'll get started here. I'm going to go live every single week during the college football season. On Fridays, there's the email that we're live. Midnight Fridays, Eastern time, every single week, previewing the college football slate. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm a sick fuck and I want to take the stock notes to the next level. And I guess let me phrase it this way. The college football season is the information process for the NFL draft. This is about learning. So in the beginning of the season, week 0, which is, week 1, we're kind of getting an idea of, ooh, this guy's different. He looks like he's popped, or ooh, this guy didn't look like he got any better. Like, here's a perfect example. CJ Stroud, you just kept seeing him go like this when he was in college. Spencer Rattler, you just kept seeing him go like this. So the early portion of the season, we'll kind of get a sense of, hey, this guy, it doesn't look like he got any better, or this guy, he looks like he got a lot better. Once we get week 5, 6, 7 beyond, we'll start noticing some trends, and I'll start to point those out in terms of, hey, I don't like the way this guy's bent his knees. He's not going to make it. Or, hey, this guy's release packages at receiver, he might have something. So we'll get into more detail. But again, the whole purpose behind this is the college football season serves as the information process. I understand that the mainstream media, in terms of the NFL draft, they don't know dick. They don't understand anything. And I try to give you the best information possible. So by the time those people catch up, you're already ahead of the game. So week 0, I'm not going to go too long here. I'm going to get some talking points out of the way, and we'll wrap this up pretty quickly. So first thing on the item list, we'll just do some quick hitters on the Hawaii, Fresno State, and all that other bullshit. So for Hawaii, new starting quarterback this year, Micah Eladio. I think that's how you say it. Bishop Gorman, true freshman. Looks like Timmy Chang found his quarterback. He's tiny, but I'm not saying he's going to be Colt Brennan, but it's just something to watch. Hawaii, they might finally have like one of those Colt Brennans, Timmy Chang type guys. Now he's a freshman, but Hawaii is actually a -2.5 point favorite in the game. So if he goes out there and actually beats Stanford, maybe he becomes something. Again, best case scenario, we're talking about like a 6th or 7th round pick, but regardless, still something to keep an eye on. And shout out Bishop Gorman. First year Frank Reich. They actually have a wide receiver. He's a true freshman. He's something to watch. So Stanford, they got a freshman wide receiver. Hawaii, new quarterback. Just something to keep an eye on. Fresno State game, they're -14.5 point underdogs. They still have that 5-star Corey Foreman. We'll see if he pops. He's finally a senior, but this is kind of his last chance. And Kurt Warner's son, EJ Warner, used to be at Temple. Now he's at Fresno State. He's the new starting quarterback there. And Jalen Daniels, he's still there. They have no more Neal at running back. So, hey, can Jalen Daniels actually be like the star and not have like a star running back to lean on? Those are kind of your water cooler 2-minute talking points on all those other games. We don't really give a shit about those games, right? We're here to talk about Farmageddon for the most part. Before I get into that, let me say first, I'm going to share my screen here. Vendetta Fantasy Contest. I'm going to do this live because you're going to even see me do it live because I haven't done this ahead of time, and I have been so busy that I haven't gotten around to doing it. So we are creating the college football 2025 college. Sorry, I'm doing this live. Football regular. We're doing this live. You're going to do it with me. All right. That contest is created. Let's go to the homepage. Obviously, you don't see this admin part. Let's create the contest. So you want to join? It's right here, man. VendettaFantasyContest.com. I just created the competition. Let's call it VSM college football. Does that work for everybody? And then we'll do it public. If you want to join, you go right ahead. We'll put that in there. Create the terms if you want to buy back in. And then this should work. I haven't tried this yet. Boom. What do you know? All right, we're in. So if you want to join the contest, you go right ahead and do so. That is all set up right here for you. It's got all the games that we're going to talk about here. Anywho, we're going to talk about Farmageddon, but just wanted to point this out. The contest is live, and if you type in that promo code Matthew Berry Sucks, you'll get it 100% for free. The reason why I'm doing it for free right now is because I still found a couple bugs, and I want to make sure it's perfect before we start charging people for it. So if you want to go ahead and join right now, you can do so. There's a minor couple bugs that are still stuck in there, so I'm not going to charge anybody until it's 100% perfect. So if you want to go ahead and play, you can do so. Anyway, we're going to talk about Farmageddon. I got a list of things that I want to talk about. I'm not going to take too long, but just again, the information process, things that you should be aware of going forward for the game on Saturday. I guess today's Saturday. Leave my Saturdays alone, huh? Anywho, let's just talk about some game plan stuff. Iowa State, their run defense was fucking horrible last year. Now, that doesn't guarantee that their run defense will be bad this year, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. Last year, they ranked 100th in the country in terms of rushing yards allowed. They gave up an average of 5.5 yards per carry in the ground last year. Not exactly ideal when you're playing Avery Johnson, who is a quarterback who, again, didn't complete a ton of passes last year. His best weapon is his legs. If you can't stop the run and the quarterback on the other team can run, probably not an ideal recipe for success. By the way, Iowa State has actually done pretty good in some of these past matchups with Kansas State. So I don't feel like this is a situation where Iowa State will get exposed. However, the run defense does terrify me. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And Kansas State's running back, Dylan Edwards, he's the real deal. Now, he's tiny. He's not very big, but he can catch the ball. He can do the jet sweeps. He's going to be a factor on special teams. He's fast. He was an impact guy right away at Colorado. Now, DJ Giddens was the starter for Kansas State last year, but I said all along in the stock report notes that if you read them last year, that I think Edwards is the better player. So that's something to watch. If Iowa State's run defense is that fucking terrible, maybe Kansas State will run away with it. Now, on Iowa State's defensive line, Dominique Orange. He's a senior now. He's got to come through. If their run defense is better, it's probably going to be because of him. They got an incoming transfer from Yale, Tamatoa McDonough, 6.5 sacks for Yale last year. I'm not going to go into, hey, I didn't watch a ton of Yale football. Nope. If anybody tells you they watched a lot of Yale football last year, they're lying to you. We'll see what happens with him, right? We're still in the early stage. It's week 0. None of these games have happened yet. If Iowa State's going to win this game, it's going to be because Rocco Becht, okay, so here's one of the things that I'm really looking for. Everyone wants to talk about these Iowa State receivers in terms of, hey, Jaden Higgins, hey, Jalen Knoll, hey, Rocco Becht's not that good. They had these superstar wide receivers. I think it's the inverse. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll prove to be the opposite. I personally think Rocco Becht's actually good, and he made those receivers look good. Now, we'll get a pretty good idea on where things stand after this week because Kansas State, they have some good linebackers. I would say that's probably the strength of their defense, but they're not like an elite. They're not Alabama secondary. Alabama secondary this year is going to be gross, but Kansas State doesn't have like this overwhelming secondary. If their pass offense runs dry, maybe you start to see who. Maybe it was Higgins. Ooh, maybe it was Jalen Noel. I personally think East Carolina legend Chase Soul, he's going to be a monster. I think he's better than both of them. We'll see if that part's true, but this is really his time to shine because he's got like a real quarterback instead of the Jake Garcia nonsense. So I think Chase Soul's a pretty good player. We'll find out how for real he is. I just have a feeling that they're not really going to skip a beat. Here's another thing that I'm looking for in terms of Rocco Becht. Now, a lot of people are going to make hey, he could be the next Brock Purdy, and that's certainly possible. If you asked me which player I thought was better in college, I would actually tell you that Becht is better, but it's mainly for this one characteristic. And maybe that'll play out this way, but just from what I've seen in the past, it seems to be the case. This Rocco Becht, he's just got a set of nuts on him, and you got to respect it. Like, he's the type of guy where he'll look like shit in the first quarter. He'll look like shit in the second quarter. He'll look like shit in the third quarter. It'll look like they're completely out of the fucking water and they have no chance to win the game. And then the guy rise that Undertaker gif where he rises from the dead. That's Rocco Becht. Like, that's the best thing that he does. And that's something like, hey, did he just get on a hot streak? Is he just getting lucky? Or does he got a set of nuts on him and that's just who he is? That's the kind of stuff we'll find out more as this season kind of progresses. But again, he's not overly big. He doesn't have, like, in terms of a characteristic, he doesn't have Joe Milton's arm strength. Like, that's not it. But I think he delivered the ball. I think he throws a really nice ball. I think he bends his knees pretty well. He's not a statue back there. And he's got a clutch factor that maybe I'm off base on that. But just from the game, like that UCF game, they had no business winning that game. That Miami game, he kept going stride for stride against Cam Ward. Now, Cam Ward didn't play the full game in the bowl game, but he just kept scoring. He just kept keeping up with him. So I think he's got that gamer baller quality to him, to where I don't think even if Iowa State's run defense is terrible, that they'll be out of the game. So I'm very excited about this one. In terms of who I would bet on, I don't have like a strong take in terms of, ooh, go place your money somewhere. Honestly, if I'm telling you to bet any game tomorrow, it would probably be the UNLV game. They're a minus 29.5 point favorite. Now that sounds like a lot, but they're playing Idaho or Idaho State, which is not a real like FBS team. And UNLV fucking loaded up in the transfer portal to the point where, like, I feel like they would probably be like, they're a lot better than people understand that UNLV historically is, or at least in like recent memory. So I think UNLV is going to be pretty good, like in terms of UNLV standards. And by the way, Idaho State, they played Idaho last year. They lost 40-17. So Idaho State lost to Idaho. Again, these things change. You know, maybe they're a totally different team this year. That's completely possible. By the way, last year, they gave up 77 points to Eastern Washington. So if I got like a best bet for anybody that wants to place a bet, I would take UNLV and don't sweat the 29.5. I think they'll cover whatever the number is. So that would be my only bet in terms of what I would want to place in terms of, hey, if you want to actually try to make some money, go right ahead. Some smaller notes. I think the Kansas State tight end might be a sleeper. His name's Garrett Oakley. When I say sleeper, I mean maybe he's better than Ben Sinnott. I'm not telling you it's anything insane. I'm simply telling you that the tight end that Kansas State has this year, very possible that he's better than Ben Sinnott. Now, Ben Sinnott was overdrafted, but regardless. I'll close with this, I guess. Avery Johnson, I'm a believer. I'm still a believer. Here's the thing about Avery Johnson. Like, dude, last year was his first year as a starter. And I've said this 1,000 times, but I feel like it's the right place to lead off. He made Will Howard leave. Like, Kansas State had their choice. They didn't want Will Howard. Now, Will Howard sucks, and that maybe that's not even a compliment. What I'm simply telling you is that the guy that started for Ohio State last year, he wouldn't have started for Kansas State. Just want you to process that. So this Avery Johnson, he has real talent, mostly because he's like, in terms of the normal quarterback, he's an athletic freak. His legs are going to be a weapon. It's a matter of, can he be more accurate? Can he get the ball to where it needs to be in terms of an accuracy standpoint? And not only that, there's just too many times like he'll make a throw and I'm like, why did it go there? Like, too many dumb decisions that, like, they're like an Anthony Richardson decision where, like, what the fuck are you doing, buddy? Those happened to him last year. But again, that was his first year as a starter. What kind of guy are we going to see this year? Because last year, anytime that he was somewhat accurate, they fucking won. Now, here's the other good part about all this. Their offensive line is literally redshirt senior, redshirt senior, redshirt senior, redshirt senior. They got like 6 or 7 offensive linemen who can fucking play. And then when I say fucking play, I'm not saying that they're like guaranteed Dalton Reisner second round pick, but I'm telling you that they're legitimate players, especially for the Big 12. So he's got an offensive line in front of him. You should keep that in mind when all of this stuff, whether it be the rushing aspect or whether it be the throwing aspect. If he takes strides as a passer, he will be one of my higher ranked quarterbacks next year. He's already one of my higher ranked quarterbacks right now. But again, we talk about, can his decision making get better? I feel like his decision making off the field is already there. I just wrote this article a couple days ago. You can find it for yourself in the college football section, but we're talking about a guy who had plenty of offers to leave. Like, he could have went and transferred out, but he didn't even pick up the phone. Like, this wasn't a guy who was even remotely interested in leaving Kansas State. He feels loyal to Kansas State, which, again, say whatever you want about that. What I'm simply telling you is that it feels like he has self-awareness. It feels like he understands that, hey, leaving for extra money isn't the end all be all. I got to worry about becoming a better player. So the fact that he has that at the quarterback position is a really good sign. Still very young, by the way. Like, he doesn't have to come out this year either. He can wait another year on top of this year. So again, I'm not telling you that he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. I'm not trying to blow smoke up the guy's ass, but he's got real fucking talent and he can absolutely play. And if he come, and by the way, he don't got a bad arm. Like, this ain't no fucking water pistol that he's got either. That ain't the problem. Decision making, ball placement, that kind of shit. If that takes strides forward, he's a very legitimate NFL player. So very excited for that game tomorrow. I would not bet it. It's, by the way, it's in Ireland. It's usually rainy there. It's very, very possible that the grass is not. I've heard that the grass is higher, just based on, I don't really know, but is the grass higher than it normally is on a football field for like here? So we'll see on how those conditions play. Either way, would not bet it. I would lean Kansas State, but giving up points in the Big 12, do you really want to do that? I don't know. I wouldn't recommend betting that, but great quarterback matchup. at least exciting quarterback matchup. Let's go there. And all of these teams, in terms of like, if you want to place a future on the Big 12, they're all right next to each other. Like there's no strong lean from even the sports book in terms of who you want to bet on in that conference. So those are some things that I'm watching for. Forgot to mention the fact that Iowa State has actually 2 running backs too. Abu Sama would probably be my lean, but he's actually not even listed as the starter. Carson Hansen is. So they're not Brees Hall good, but they're capable. So curious to see if they take a step forward too. Again, we're not going to go too long here. The only other thing that I'll say is 2 things to watch for in the near future. One being the cheese list, the OnlyFans list. All my fantasy football stuff is coming out shortly. I've recorded 2 of the videos already. I'm going to record a couple more in the morning tomorrow. Record a couple more after that tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. I'm hopeful that I can get all of them published by Tuesday. I would imagine that some will at least start coming out on Sunday. So that's the plan for that. The Matthew Berry challenge video, I gotta message Herrick, remind me to do that, brain. In terms of scheduling the Matthew Berry challenge, right now the current scoreboard is 23-2, I think. Right? I think. I'll have to go double check that. It's been a long day. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Leave my Saturdays alone. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, I'm open to. By the way, yeah, I guess I could always bring back the NFL draft mailbag, right? I guess I could. All right, that'll do it. Peace out, Girl Scout, and we will see you in the stock notes. And yes, consigliere will be involved, so the show must go on.